Welcome to the Making You, an accurate reflection of Christ podcast, where you become translucent glory. Now here's your host and glory teacher, Karen Pina.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. As the 5 stair steps sing, ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. No, it is not about making sure you do 25 jumping jacks in your workout routine. Research suggests that 80% of what you eat on a daily basis determines what you will look like. In other words, exercising only accounts for 20% of a fit body. I don't know about you, but I'd much rather eat properly than wear myself out with crunches for my abs 3 times a week, weightlifting 3 times a week, and 100 burpees every other day. Check out the resource on the 80-20 nutrition rule in the show notes. Come on, let's ascend physically in this episode. Kingdom greetings, Ascendant. In the introduction to Physical Ascension, you learned about the 2 levels of fitness, which are physical and temple ascension. And we define these as basically eating well versus living as a home for God's glory. In other words, you may start this journey by simply eating the right foods, exercising a certain amount of times per week, and drinking plenty of water. Then you ascend into the knowledge that you are doing this for eternal purposes versus for merely desiring to extend your body to live longer. That's a good reason, but remember, this is what the world does. And as a believer, the highest level of physical ascension is about the spiritual stewardship of your temple as a home for God's glory. It's about creating a place where God dwells in health, wellness, and wholeness due to making the right choices with food, with people, and with so much more. When you come into this ascendant place, your temple radiates with His glory. You can witness to anyone without even opening your mouth because your glorified temple speaks. This is the heart of what you learned in the introduction. In this episode, we will expand this concept. I want to keep leaning into the concept of levels. When I first received a vision of how Father desired for me to represent Him as a glorious temple, it shifted me. This shift was so dramatic that I cared less about eating for my satisfaction and more about eating for His satisfaction. When you satisfy God with what you're eating and by stewarding yourself appropriately, He will fill your temple with glory. The initial start of my journey to experiencing fullness in his temple consisted of embracing one of the 5 types of vegetarian diets. For example, when I received the vision of health he showed me, I began eating primarily fruits and vegetables. Prior to this juncture in my life, I rarely drank water or exercised. After 6 years of being faithful to eating a primarily raw diet consisting of high quality fruits and vegetables and meat or wild fish once a month, exercising 3 to 5 times a week, and drinking half my body weight in ultra purified water, Father promoted me. He said, Karen, you know that when you eat mayonnaise and tartar sauce on your fish, you are eating 2 proteins. You're eating the fish as well as the egg. You see how he thinks about promotion? Doesn't sound like one, right? It's completely different than how we view promotion. This required me to ascend into another level. See that? And I found a really good substitute for mayonnaise called Vegenaise, and it's made with grapeseed oil. And I used it to start making homemade tartar sauce. And let me tell you something. My husband absolutely loves this tartar sauce. It's comprised of Vegenaise, a little bit of turmeric, capers, relish, a smidge of lemon, and a little bit of the juice from the capers and some hot sauce. It's delicious. And I tell you, I don't miss the traditional tartar sauce because this one's much better. I love this promotion. Let me give you some more examples of promotion in the area of physical ascension. Honey comes from an animal, the bee. And as you can see, it's not a fruit or a vegetable. And I'm not being dogmatic, but what I am doing is I'm illustrating fitness has phases and levels. Perhaps honey was okay in one phase for you. Now he's saying if you remain committed to a plant-based Garden of Eden lifestyle, it's not. Also, he may be saying that it's okay. However, I want you to buy it locally so that you can receive the maximum nutritional value versus purchasing it from the store. This is what he led me to do. And now I only consume raw honey with all of the live enzymes and minerals, pollen, and vitamins in it. It comes from a beekeeper that's about 30 minutes from our home. And a way that you can think about what you are learning is this. We go from glory to glory, transformation to transformation, transfiguration into his image to transfiguration into his image. And just as you couldn't take all the deliverance that your soul needs in one fell swoop, you couldn't take all the required physical ascension you need at one time. By grace, specifically by his grace, he doles it out little by little. Stated differently, you are promoted over time. We grasp this in other areas, but not so much when it comes to our temple. You see, as you prove faithful in eating and in fitness on one level, then he promotes you to the next. You see that? He promotes you to level 2. You might be there just physical, right, ascension, but then he promotes you into temple ascension. Think of the detailed and lengthy instructions he provided David and Solomon in the building of the temple. This is the same thing that's happening to you in the highest level of physical ascension. Wow. When he promotes you by providing instructions that move you out of physical ascension, you are building a house for his glory to reside. You are becoming a temple, hence level 2 of physical ascension. Let me give you one more example. If you're easing into a Garden of Eden diet, then you may start off by substituting a beef hamburger with a store-bought veggie burger. Next, he will lead you to start making your own veggie burgers. And I make a mean black bean and beet burger. Further promotion can be found when you stop purchasing high-quality hamburger buns to eating your homemade veggie burgers wrapped up in a lettuce wedge or slice. You make the lettuce the bun. I'm telling you, if you've never had a veggie burger wrapped up in lettuce with tomatoes and pickles on it, you are missing out. It's uber refreshing. By the way, the pickles I'm talking about putting on your veggie burgers are homemade. Generally speaking about physical ascension, learning how to make what your body needs at home is ultimately going to be the healthiest and the quickest way to ascend. Now, I pray that you will begin to apply what you are learning versus simply listening to this podcast week after week. To jumpstart you, I want you to replace 1 or 2 things that you buy at the store with a homemade version. That's right, this is your homework for the week. Are you ready to come out of merely eating what you want to then work out like a maniac to burn off all the extra calories and come into eating like the temple of God that you already are? If so, it's time to kick up your physical ascension level. Until next week, blessings. Karen Pina, your host, glory teacher, and ascension specialist, signing out.
Thanks for listening to today's podcast. To discuss and learn more about this episode, join your Glory community at www.gloryschoolcommunity.com. Finally, be sure to sign up for the RSS feed to know when the next episode is uploaded.